Hey guys, welcome to Up Close and Personal with PS Invest, our weekly show where we go over our weekly plays and just our general holdings and what we're looking at possibly acquiring in the next week here or so. My name is Patrick. I'm joined here by my co-host Steve. But before we get into what we did this previous week, I just want to remind you guys that anything we say in this show is our personal opinion. It should not be taken as financial advice. If you want to make any investments, you should always contact a financial advisor. Any positions me and Steve currently hold will be listed in the description below. All right, Steve. So far we've released a couple videos just about current events, previous earnings, and man, what a crazy week just for the market as a whole. How's your portfolio held up, and are there any nice buying opportunities that you might be eyeing? Anything you've added to your watch list this week?
Yeah, so like I was saying last week, I am still holding Alta and I'm still holding Canada Goose. Alta had a really nice bounce back week this week. I think they were up something like 7% on the week. Alta had a really good bounce back. Did not seem to be affected by coronavirus fears. Really solid week for Alta. Canada Goose was having a nice bounce back week until they reported earnings today. So they reported earnings today. They missed earnings. Reported 82 cents per share as opposed to the projected 87 cents per share. And not only that, but with the coronavirus, they said that sales in China will be down and will be affecting them in the year moving forward. So that kind of weighed on the stock a little bit. Um, One thing I will say though, I thought it was going to be worse. Pre-market, Canada Goose was down 9% today, and they only ended up being down about 4%. At one point, I think they were down 2% on the day. So they kind of shook off the bad earnings and the coronavirus scare. So I'm pretty satisfied with where Canada Goose is right now. I think it's in a good position. I don't know if I'd be adding to Canada Goose right now, even if I could. Um, but yeah, that's how my week went for my stocks. Uh, how was it for you? Do you see any effects due to any of the current events we talked about?
Yeah, Target and Nike. Those are my only two current stock positions, and Target's been pretty good. Nike's been a little back and forth with the coronavirus issues. Neither of them I'm looking to add more to. I have a couple of things I've thrown up on my watch list though. Starbucks, I feel like with their pull down because of the coronavirus, they're still looking like a nice opportunity. I might look to purchase a couple shares this coming week. Um,
Mhm.
and then BMO Harris, just kind of want to get some money in the financial sector. And I really like their stock. Just looking for a nice opportunity to buy. And then J&J, they had a little pullback this week. Some news about a lawsuit somewhere on the East Coast, I believe, uh, having to do with their baby powder. So, a
Mhm.
short term pullback. I don't think I'd put money into shares per se, but might look into doing some options on them just to see if I could get some make some money on the short term volatility of the stock. Um, I don't know, Steve. Any stock or any companies you're putting on the watch list this week, or anything you're just keeping your eye on?
Yeah, so I think last week I highlighted Target as my stock of the week, if we want to call it that. I just want to touch back on them. They were pretty flat from last week. If anything, they went up just a little bit, but so just keeping tabs on Target. I don't really think they're on my watch list right now, just because I think they're still. I would like to see them pull back a little more before I really start looking at them. But one stock that is on my watch list is Tesla, and I'm not necessarily saying that I would get into Tesla. I just think the run that it's been on has been incredible. I've never seen anything like it from, a stock that's as solid as Tesla. Usually we see this types of stuff, these types of jumps and pullbacks in penny stocks. But Tesla's definitely on my watch list just because it's been pretty enjoyable and pretty crazy to watch. So those are two that I'm keeping an eye on.
Hmm.
But how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, just the Starbucks, BMO, and J&J. I did open a couple option positions though this week, or actually just one on Microsoft, and I'm still holding on to one in Nvidia. Some long term bullish option positions on those. Hopefully close those out pretty soon for some profit. I did close out a couple other option positions. One that I had on Starbucks. A bullish. Actually, all of my positions this week were pretty bullish. So Starbucks, I was able to close that out for a profit. AbbVie, going into earnings, I had a position. I closed that before earnings for a nice little profit. And I closed a different Microsoft option play for a profit before opening this new one. I did get burned this week. I broke one of my fundamental rules of not holding over earnings, and I
Mm.
got burned on Snapchat.
Ah.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I was very optimistic. Nice bullish position, but that did not work out for me. So, yeah, that kind of hurt the ego a little bit. But overall, you know, decently green week. Um, yeah, you live and learn, I guess. And
That's what it's all about.
sometimes that risk is worth the pain. um,
Hmm.
but yeah, lesson learned, and we'll just move on to the next week and see what happens.
Hmm.
Um,
One thing I did want to say, I was just thinking actually of stocks to put on my watch list. I'm thinking of, I have actually put Boeing on my watch list. So for those of you that haven't been keeping up in the past couple weeks, Boeing has been on a crazy ride with the 737 MAX re-release. So they actually fell quite a bit a couple weeks ago. News that they were going to have to take out more loans and that they were having even more issues with the re-release. And then they kind of bounced back with the re-release being moved up and some positive feedback coming from the FAA. They're just something that I would like to keep an eye on because 737 Max issue is always going to be there, but as more news comes out on the re-release, whether it's good or bad, we could see some big movements in the stock in either direction that could give you either a nice buying opportunity, or if you're already in Boeing, could give you a nice move into the upside. So that's one stock that is actually I'm putting on my watch list.
yeah, Boeing's been really interesting recently. I mean, they had some bad news to share during their earnings, and then a lot of the airline companies, you know, didn't have them in the best of late, you could say. So they definitely took a hit from that, and then you got coronavirus and all these things, and then they had some positive news, like you said, moving some stuff up. I think as long as other things stay in the headlines, Tesla, coronavirus, stuff like that, that's going to be nothing but good for Boeing and their stock. And as we draw closer, I mean, if they can stay on the timelines that they've set and that the FAA has set, I don't see a lot more pullback for Boeing. So any pullbacks here in the near term future, I think those would be nice buying points. So definitely something nice on your watch list there. And you know what? I might throw that on my watch list. Just keep an eye on it in case the right opportunity presents itself.
Hmm.
Anything else going on this week, this upcoming week for you, Steve, or is that about it?
No, that's about it. We'll see what happens in this upcoming week. As I've stated earlier, my Alta and Canada Goose holdings are not going anywhere anytime soon.
Mhm.
So, we'll just see how they react this week and give you guys an update on some other stocks that I think are kind of on my radar and maybe they should be on yours.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for Up Close and Personal with PS Invest. I've been your host, Patrick, here with my co host, Steve. We hope that you guys join us next week when we go over, any plays that we made that week and things that we might be adding to our watch list. Until then, good luck investing.